Yo, what up, fam? It's your boy DKG72, and on this episode of the Foresight Podcast, we're going to be focusing on the art scene here in St. Louis. It's huge, it's massive. We have all kinds of artists, from painters to poets to singers, rappers, musicians, everything you can imagine. And one of the most influential and one of the most major players on this scene is my guest today, Miss DACIA Polk. All right, let's get into it. Let's go. Well, Lamar, we're here again.
Yes, we are, Dave. Yes, we are.
You've just done the countdown.
Yes, I did.
The countdown was great. As usual, you are the countdown guy.
We're recording, Dave.
We are recording? We are? You sure?
Positive, Dave.
Oh, in that case, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Foresight Podcast. I am your host, David Gordon, aka DKG72. That's my screen name on the Instagrams and Twitters and all that good stuff. And on today's episode, we are going to be speaking with a creative who is doing a lot of things in the city. Is a part of one of the what I call our sort of secret communities in St. Louis. If you don't know, St. Louis has a large number of people that are into the arts and just are about the arts, and poetry is one of those communities that is strong in this city. Like it's like the force. The force is strong in this community, and poetry is very strong in this community. I have very close friends that are poets. I know a lot of poets. I've met a lot of poets. And we're going to be speaking with a young lady. She is at the heart of the community and at the heart of bringing it to the front and into kind of the mainstream. But first and foremost, as we always do, let's do a little house cleaning. Just want to say thank you to everybody that is tuned in to the podcast. Thank you for pulling us up on Google Podcasts and Spotify and Anchor and all those good places. Thank you guys so much. Without you, we could not be here. Also want to give a shout out to the guy that has to put up with all of my stupidity and does it with does it at the highest level of professionalism. He is the Lamar Harris, aka DJ Noonie. Say what's up, man.
Hi.
And yeah, so let's get back into our poetry community, our arts community. And again, like I said before, this young lady, she's basically she's doing it. She's doing it big. She's putting together shows. She's a creator, artist, host, all kinds of things. And let's go ahead and let's speak with Miss DACIA Innergy Polk.
It is pronounced DACIA.
DACIA.
But Energy just kind of takes the frustration out of all of it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So since I've screwed that up, I'm going to say it again. DACIA.
There we go.
Energy.
I'm so
Polk.
used to people butchering my name, though.
See, I should have asked first.
It's okay. It's all right. We got a little experience, though. Because this is not first time. This is not first rodeo.
No, it's not. It's not. We've seen each other before.
And we have. You were almost speed dating.
Yeah, we were. that was funny in and of itself. They were like, "You want to join it, dude? You hired me to." but it was fun. We're gonna talk about that.
We'll talk about that later. All right.
It's a great episode already.
Well,
DACIA.
Yes, sir.
As I'm always want to do with all the guests, let's go into your superhero origin story. Tell us, tell the fans a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a St. Louis native, born and raised. I am the second youngest of 5 siblings. I grew up in a single mother parent household where I was given lots of creative freedom and license to do me. Generally, I got to know the city very well. And all of my, I guess, school career, most of my interests lied in creative arts. So I excelled in arts, drama, chemistry, okay, literary arts, even English. I enjoyed being on stage, even when I was a part of the school choir. I sang second soprano. That was different, That was,
okay,
right, all of that, just trying to be fancy. But it really didn't even set in, I suppose, that was going to be a part of my path and my purpose until my mid-20s. I graduated and didn't, when you graduate, especially if you graduate your high school year with a kid, your senior year with a kid, it's like, you got to get a job.
Yeah.
You got to, I don't know what you're talking about. You got to get a job because you got a kid to support. So it wasn't as if I could just immediately, follow my passions and my dreams. And if anything, becoming a parent, so soon kind of left me in this position where it was like, I got to now, figure out what I'm going to do with my kid. I can't be focused on, things I was going to do for myself. So hard knocks, I didn't quite enjoy the employment atmosphere. I think that I loved serving people, but I didn't quite, my jobs weren't fulfilling. But they did prepare me for talking to people, dealing with people, being professional. When the money that you earned is predicated upon the people that you serve, you kind of have to humble yourself a little bit. And so, in reflection, of course, now being 6 years into entrepreneurship, I jumped a couple different spots in that story, but just know that as I grew out of high school and into parenthood, I didn't really consider what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, where I wanted to go with things. But when your path has already been paid for you, you'll find your way coming back to it many times. And when I got the opportunity to begin my arts and entertainment career, it kind of dropped out of nowhere. I was organizing. I was very heavy into the community organizing. I had joined an organization where we were very, very, very strong on supporting the community. So we did a lot of outreach programs, from homeless initiatives to community cleanup initiatives. We were part of a lot of local events that were going on just to provide even security. We soldiered. We were boots on the ground. So, one of the first people to even respond when Michael Brown was killed. So honestly, that was a pivotal point, because I'd already been involved with the organization for a year before Mike Brown, and I'd even incurred my own police brutality experience. So it was before, months before, maybe I think about 4 months before Michael Brown was killed, I was speaking out because I had my own experience. I was assaulted by 3 cops in Maplewood, and it just was a big debacle. It was the first time I ever got in trouble with the law. It was the first time I'd ever really saw police brutality, like personally, firsthand, and it was terrifying.
I believe you.
I was so shook. And it wasn't the experience itself. It was the fact that it was 100 people gathered around, and they would rather stand there and watch me get beat up and record it than to actually do anything about it, even though it was way more of them than it was of the cops. So, long story short, I began to find my voice, and I started speaking more about what I had experienced, because I felt like it could happen to anybody, because it happened to me. And in that, when I got the call to respond that day, that just set up a domino effect for me to later on get an opportunity to produce an event where people could get together. So it was really a speakeasy. It was really like a meeting place for people to come gather and talk about concerns and issues in the community and things like that. But I did tap into that vein, that hidden vein of that lifeblood here in St. Louis that is poetry, and it brought it all rushing back. It brought me being in school writing poems in the 4th grade, it brought all that back. So
let's go back a little bit. Right before you leave school and everything, you were a creative. You were in the arts and everything like that. Then of course, with child, you have to become a mom. What were you? What was that moment of truth when you were like, look, I made? Because we all, like artists, we always face that moment of truth when we have to. I don't know if I'll be able to ever come back to this again. What was that like when you were like really and at a young age making that decision and just looking at it like, oh man, I got to be in the workforce?
I mean, I think the bigger conversation that wasn't had was that, hey, you can be a parent before you become an adult. And so here I was thrust into, this new lifestyle without ever having experienced being an adult before. So the idea of getting a job, the idea of paying bills, the idea of just, life savings, investments, financial, there's so many things that I had never really, that had never carried weight, now felt like burdens, huge burdens of stress on top of every day this child is getting bigger and bigger.
Right.
It was terrifying. It was frustrating. My support system did what it could to, make sure that I stayed on top of me. But at the end of the day, the mental strain, and then also the harsh reality that you're no longer a kid, and now you have to figure things out, whether you got the help or you don't have the help, because it is unfortunate, but in some regards in our communities as Black people, being raised in a single parent household especially, there's just a lot left to be desired. There can be a lot of neglect in that. And so even though I grew up very, very talented in a very talented family, all of my siblings have amazing talents. I mean, oh my gosh, I could talk about them all day. But there needed to be a level of nurturing that couldn't exist in that space because my mother had to support, us and herself, and so it was rough. It was really rough, and the transition was even more rough. And so I am a mother of 3. And so that definitely is always a game changer when you have so much more responsibility than you initially wanted to have. So having the one my senior year in high school, and then my daughter 2 years later, it was a lot. And then my third born child, that was probably the hardest decision I'd ever had to make. And I honestly, I've never talked about it before.
Oh, wow.
But look at y'all, my love. Y'all get a chance to get this sauce, get this tea right here.
Exclusive.
Get it straight from me. I know. So the bigger challenge came when a year after I had my daughter, I ended up pregnant again. What can I say? I'm fertile. And here I am, already struggling to make ends meet with 2 children, 2 infants, and now I got a third one on the way. And I really had to figure out my life, figure out what I was doing wrong. And I had to make a tough decision. And honestly, a lot of the women around me, and I know this is kind of like a taboo, untouched subject for a lot of people, but
let's talk about it.
All the women around me had, if they ever had a decision to make, they chose to not deal with it at all. And apparently I'm pro-choice. And I chose to, carry my third born child to his full term. And had, in that meantime, went through the legal processes of getting an attorney and getting with an adoption network and finding a family. Right. And so he is 10 years old. He's adopted. It was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make. One of the worst experiences of my life. You don't imagine carrying a child for 9 months only to watch some people who are kind of strangers walk away with your child. But it's an open adoption, and we communicate. He knows who we are. He has letters and pictures and a whole album. And so, but again, like it was a reality check. Right. I said to myself, what can I do to not ever get back in this position ever again in my life? And that force, that energy pushed me into everything that I do. So I would not even be where I am today if it wasn't for my kids. My kids are really my biggest fans.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. And yeah, those real life decisions right there. And It's always real life decisions, I think, that forges an artist in a way that's just different from other people.
Without that, everyone has a story.
Yeah, everybody has a story, and then, but what I mean is when those decisions or those situations really go into you put the art that you put out and that you create. How did poetry just kind of take the forefront?
If I'm honest, that's the easiest thing to do. I mean, even a graphic artist like yourself gets criticized. If an eye is off center, or if a thumb looks this way and a hand is supposed to look like this. What I'm saying? Like it's so many critics out there. But poetry is kind of that realm of artistry where whether you criticize it or not, that means nothing, because it's all about the intent of the writer.
Right.
Because everything is based on interpretation. So
yes, you
could read a poem and think that it's about something that is literal, and the poem could be completely figurative and not mean anything that you thought it meant at all. So it allowed me to get back into the lane of writing, into expression. But I will say that a lot of my poetry is not very personal. It doesn't speak to my hardships in motherhood. It doesn't really even speak to even some of my life choices. My poetry really rolled out the gate very political because of the stratosphere that it evolved out of, because it was right on the eve of the Michael Brown shooting, and then even following that journey for years on after that, with that being very strong in the language of my platform. I wanted people to understand that I was creating a safe space for them to be able to express themselves, but I think honestly I was creating a safe space for me to be able to be understood. But with that, it comes with supporting people. It comes with allowing people the breath and it doesn't matter if you came up on this mic and said 6 words. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Who's next? So it's been there's so much talent here in St. Louis.
Yes, there is.
But I want to say that somehow, regardless of whatever genre it is, poetry has a way of bringing everybody together.
Yes, yeah, it does. And I've been seeing that a lot. I moved back to St. Louis in 2013, and then just seeing how deep the poetry community is I was seeing it even when I was living in Atlanta, and then when I moved back, it just kind of just saw this world in a much different light. Our community has a way of influencing us creatively. It has a way of really bringing out the best in us as creatives, as artists, musicians, and poets. Because of the situations that are very prevalent in St. Louis. How did that, not only did it affect you, but how do you think it affect the overall poet community? Because you're there, you're seeing it live and direct. How do you think the things that are happening in our community are forging, the artists and their minds and their intentions with their work?
Well, you got to know that, art honestly is really our way of expressing our realities. So in all ways and in everything, an artist is only just using whatever medium they can to, better understand their world, better understand their feelings, better connect to the people around them, better relate. And so one thing I always want to emphasize as well is in my political education and looking in, historical movements and really pinpointing I guess if there was a recipe, a converging of energies that really cemented and anchored a point in time where we can look at a 70s era or a 60s era or 80s era and say, this is what the energy was then, you would really honestly directly understand that from the artistry that evolved from at that time period. And so every revolution in its, you know, stuff. Every generation has a group of artists that defined that time period. And so I think that with the climate here in St. Louis, that was nothing but the perfect, you know, brew of busy and flurry and activity and, you know, things happening and actions and protests and shutdowns and, you know, all of that to really structure this new found ability to say, hey, I don't have to just talk about, you know, sunshine and rainbows and, you know, family issues. I can talk about politics. I can talk about what's happening in St. Louis. I could talk about the world. And so I even had a group of artists that I was working with heavily at the time. Right after that we did a group piece that was speaking on the city and what everybody talked about shed light on a different aspect of, you know, being here. So I know for a fact that, you know, just the daily reality of living in a city like St. Louis, it has impacted everyone's art, whether you are a songwriter, musician, or a poet.
Yeah. You said you said as you've kind of come back into poetry from corporate America and all that good stuff, it's gotten you back into your writing. On the Foresight podcast, we basically focus on creators and entrepreneurs, and the main question is how do you guys do the things that you do? How do artists draw their picture? How do writers?
So we're talking about creative process.
Yes, it's like it's like we get into the woods of what creators do. What was that like? Kind of putting pen back to paper or typing? I don't know.
Right.
What was that like? Just coming back.
Honestly, it was easy because at that point, my first show that I put together, that I coordinated, I got, you know, DJ, I had the space, I promoted it. I didn't spit a lick of poetry, and I didn't go by Innergy either.
Oh, okay.
That came a couple shows later. I actually wrote out the gate my first and middle name, DACIA Jean. You know, I'm a country girl from St. Louis.
Country girl.
From the Midwest. So I really had to figure out what I was doing. You know, if this was something that I felt like was going to be me. And as I sat in the audience, or as I, you know, walked around the room to see who's there and, you know, who decides to show up, they didn't know me. You know, they didn't know who I was, but they knew that there was an event. They knew there was a night where they could come and get on the mic. And so listening to them and seeing them have the audacity, you know, I was already scared out of my mind to be at the forefront of this, you know, event and just doing something I'd never done before. But it was just watching them be in their element, whether they were brand new like me or have been doing this for years. And it was inspiring. It was truly inspiring. So that's why I say it was easy, because it was like, how dare I be this afraid to do this when y'all get up there and y'all just make this look like it's a piece of cake. Now, being on the mic and being on those lights, it's always going to come with its feelings. But I really got inspired from the artists that came themselves.
Okay. Well, Deja, this is what we're going to do. We're actually going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about you building a series of events and being a promoter and being an entrepreneur and being kind of a superstar in your chosen field. So what we're going to do is we want to pay a couple bills, and this is the Foresight Podcast, and we'll be right back. Hey, what's up, fam? DKG72 here, and I wanted to talk to you guys about Patreon. If you know, at the end of every video, I always ask you guys to head over to Patreon, pick a tier, and choose, and your monthly donations help us, the studio, create more and more great content for you guys to watch and listen to and read and enjoy. This month, I just added on a new tier, which is our $15 Foresight Gang tier. Gang. I always wanted to do that in the video. Anyway, with the $15 Foresight Gang tier, you're going to get 15% off the merch store on foresightstudio.com. You also get the Foresight podcast 1 week ahead of its drop date. You also get a free black and white pinup downloadable that you can download every month. And yeah, it's just a cool tier. Now, there are the other tiers, like there's the $5 tier, there's the $10 tier, where you get like 5% off, 10% off. And then there's the $20 tier in which you get a whopping 25% off. So head over to patreon.com, DKG72Comics, and check out all the tiers and figure out which one works for you. And just remember, the $15 tier and the $20 tier, you'll get the Foresight podcast 1 week ahead of its drop date. All right, guys, it's your boy DKG72, and I'm out. Peace.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Thank you for that wonderful countdown. One more time. You know, you're good with that. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. We are speaking with Miss DACIA Innergy POLK about just our burgeoning, our exploding arts and entertainment community, which is funny because a few episodes back, we were speaking about how the technology community is exploding. So there's this convergence going on, and I love it. And to that end, one of the things that's kind of in the middle is entrepreneurship, and a lot of artists, a lot of techies. Well, artists and techies, we always work together anyway. And through that, we're also really exploring or really moving away from the 9 to 5 punch a clock type of lifestyle, and more to the 7 day a week. This is insane. Why am I doing this? But I don't have to worry about somebody telling me my hair is not HR ready or that type of stuff. I get to come in when I want to, but then if I come in late, I got to work late. That type of stuff.
I mean, you still got to do that though. Yeah, but you know what? Those kids who think that doing, having their own jobs and making their own jobs is so easy. But I'm like, no. You eat, sleep, and breathe your business. It's 24/7. 365, no holidays, no, well, I won't say that. It's whatever you make it.
You can make a holiday.
You can make your own holiday.
You can.
Okay.
But then you have to. It comes with it's a decision.
Yes, and it has to be structured within your business to ensure that it doesn't make everything fall apart.
Now I've been pointing this out, especially I have a lot of female guests, and you guys are part of a very exciting statistic about this city. We know that St. Louis has its challenges. we definitely know that St. Louis has its challenges, and a lot of times it's easy for people to kind of get down on the city and down on the things that are going on. But one of the things that has been noted, it's documented, and if you're not paying attention, I don't see how you don't see this, is the fact that we are the #1 city for black female entrepreneurs.
Ooh.
Being a black female entrepreneur,
yeah,
we have to talk about what your journey is like, and what are some challenges, and just kind of take people into what it is that you have to do to kind of build your events and make it profitable and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, the opportunity to host the open mic event was not originally supposed to be like, oh, now I'm an entrepreneur. It was an opportunity that landed in my lap. I saw it as a chance to build on my network. I saw it as a chance to be even more vocal, and to have a platform that I could utilize to do that on, that I control. So it was definitely a scary time, but at the time, I'll be honest, I was working part-time at Sister Rose as a host, and really wasn't going to miss that job.
Punch a clock.
Was not going to miss that job. And so I said, well, this might not be making me enough money to pay into my 401k or to pay on my life insurance monthly, but I see it opening more doors for me. So I can honestly sit here right now and say that poetry specifically has opened more doors for me than any of my previous attempts in getting higher education, any job that I've worked, any ass that I kicked or kissed. That too. Definitely gave me the confidence to say, hey, I can make something out of nothing. I literally can create a way where I can get paid to write, recite, and memorize and recite poetry. And that was a blessing within itself. So then I'm not even just an entrepreneur, I'm a serial entrepreneur, because when you find out that you're talented, you just want to try your hand at everything. And so shortly after I began the open mic platform, Word Up, I want to say at our third event is when I got the name Innergy. I just, I didn't pluck it out of nowhere. I'll put that out there. Innergy came because whenever I stepped into a room and I introduced myself and, I was getting ready to leave, people would be like, you know what, we got to stay connected because it's just something about your energy. You just got, this great energy, and, I just want to be around you. You want to figure out what you got going on, want to support you. I said, energy. And one day, it just clicked.
It just clicked.
Right. So in the poetry community, I'm out and about doing my thing, and I get an opportunity to go to Detroit. I go to Detroit and I check out some other poets that's doing the dang thing. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Where is this money coming from?
Right.
Lo and behold, they had a catering business. And so I was there for like 2 weeks. They showed me the ropes. And I thought that to myself that I could duplicate what they were doing in Detroit here in St. Louis. So
wow.
While I am very well known as Innergy in the city of St. Louis, I also have another name that I'm very well known by, and it's the Fruit Lady.
The Fruit Lady, okay.
The Fruit Lady was born, yes. I realized I was also still servicing my community, still community organizing, and living in the hood, being from the hood, and seeing these bodegas and gas stations being the only viable source for fresh quality food. It was very heartbreaking. So, I developed the Fruit Lady as a way to combat, the food deserts in Black communities. And I would specifically only, target Black communities to sell my fruit. And baby, Black people are hard people to serve, okay? Because the fruit is quality. The fruit speaks for itself, but I needed to come looking 100% well put together. Like, do you look as good as this fruit do? And if you don't, I ain't buying no fruit from you, okay? So it definitely came with its challenges, but here I was serving people good quality food, fresh food that they needed. It's not every day you come across somebody that's speaking to a need. It's a lot of wants, pickles and potato chips and all of that, but popcorn, but
it's not always good for you.
If we're honest, we don't need none of that junk. We need fresh quality food, and and everybody's got to eat fruit, okay?
Yeah, they do.
I mean, unless you deathly allergic, please stay away, but
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got to eat fruit. So it was a no-brainer, and it was one of the best businesses that I've run for myself because I spent so much time selling my people death and destruction with working for, IHOPs and 54th Street and Cicero's, I'll say that. And then I finally got a chance to really, 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 help people get on right track with their diets and eat better and be more aware and conscious of what they're putting in their mouths. Oh my gosh. It was amazing. So through that, I did a lot of cross promoting. I actually began to support my Word Up brand with the Fruit Lady.
Oh, okay.
We were at Legacy. We have evolved out of the space that we originated. We moved to Legacy Cafe, which has been known to be a pillar in the poetry community, in particular for almost 2 decades now. And so we were at Legacy for 2 years before we got the opportunity to move downtown to a bigger venue. So we moved to the Rusted Goat. Yeah. Okay. We were doing a dang thing. You know what I'm saying? We were in there. People was coming out. We did a tribute that made 300 people come, and Legacy cannot hold 300 people. Yeah. Oh, Legacy, they were not prepared for our growth. But the rest of Go was. But that also came with another leveling up for me. So I began to expand my team to bring more artists in a managerial way, and it also had me looking at artists in a more managerial way. But there were definitely peaks and valleys. So you spoke a little earlier about some of the darker things that happen within the city of St. Louis, but I think that those dark things happen. When they happen, they give us the appreciation for the really great positive moments that occur. And
they do.
While I definitely was busting my butt to slang that fruit and and pull these events together. I'm telling you, it was like such an amazing and brilliant strategy to use both, because I was literally talking to thousands of people a day, selling fruit, and then turning around. And I'm talking, my distribution game was sick. I'm in every barbershop, every beauty salon, I went anywhere with this fruit. I'm telling you, I was everywhere you could think of. It could be 1:00 in the morning, I'm at the club with the fruit. Okay, we are out here. That was my hustle, but the money was great, even though I was working it and I was working myself to death. And it was a lot of learning, because entrepreneurship that's what entrepreneurship is. A lot of learning. A lot of
figuring things out.
But you know what? So cereal, because we can't just stop at 2. Yeah. Gotta have a third business. So here I am, this very funkily styled a fashionista, and I got all this chunky jewelry, and people always ask me where you get your jewelry from, and I was making it myself. So they were like, "Oh, if you made jewelry, I would buy it."
Right.
I said, "Okay."
That's all you had to say.
Because I can only sell fruit 3 months of the year. Mm-hmm. So now I got a whole jewelry hustle. I got Copperstone is the brand. It is the headpiece I'm wearing right now. This is Copperstone. This bracelet's I've leveled up, okay, from where I started making this very bohemian chunky style jewelry. I've taken it and made it into a handmade, fine crafted wire wrap business, and I don't play any games. All of my pieces are phenomenally made with expert craftsmanship. I've gone on to even get commissions to do wedding rings. It's been fruitful and it's been beautiful, but it is a labor of love. And I don't know how you feel about your art, but when you see an original print go off, you like,
yeah. With originals, it's always funny is it's like, I'm paying off a lot for this. Well, there's a reason why.
Okay.
There's a reason why. If I make a print of something, I'm gonna sell it at the lower price, because I can always sell a print. But the original,
yeah, I can always just sit and come with something creative and just have that on the table. But when you call me up and you're like, I need this, and I wanted to have this, and I need to have that, and I need you to put this in it.
That's a lot of work.
Exactly.
That's a lot of work.
And don't get the ones that don't know what they want. They just want you to do your thing. But your thing is always going to be, ooh, boom, bow, boom.
Right.
Yeah, so then you looking like, I just quoted you that, but this work was like 3 times as much. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. But the jewelry business, it's a touchy thing for me, because it is a huge part of my energy that goes into creating those pieces. Okay. So I don't push my jewelry brand as hard as I push my other projects, because it is energy work. The wire wrapping, the crystals, all of that it speaks to a different level of my energy, and it takes a lot out of me to create in that regard, because I have to be single-minded, single-focused, intent, and perfection. Yeah, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to that. So it definitely is not something I broadcast as much, because those commissions, you know what I'm saying, they could take you out.
Right. You don't understand that.
You could be locked down for a month, 2 months,
Yeah. So, but it's these amazing pieces that you're coming up with, and imagine somebody's wedding ring, and it's
the part of their legacy,
ring, right?
It's their story. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something you're gonna wear for. You're not just throwing it away. That's 20, 30, 40 years on your finger. Might get resized, but that's about it. But for real, that's literally all that's gonna happen. So. Yeah.
So that's 3. We're gonna stick to those 3. Those 3 are the main. They're the most important.
There's 4.
There's more. Yeah.
There's more.
But those things are being built upon. Right now, it wouldn't even be the best to speak on those things. But I will say that I did get my podcasting. I got my podcasting foot in the door. My second year hosting the Word of platform, I ventured out into the vlogging and blogging world, and I started a motivational Mondays podcast where I would get on and just try to infuse that Monday with some positivity, because everybody kind of had this kind of energy around Mondays, like, weekend's over, So I really wanted to get people to see Mondays in a better light, to get excited about Mondays instead of being dragged down.
Is your podcast weekly?
So it was.
Yes.
It was weekly, Mondays 10 to 12. It was an amazing opportunity and taught me so much. But I actually tabled that project after 6 months because I needed my own motivation. I actually was going back and listening to every episode, really trying to get that same energy that I was giving out to everyone else. And it had me wanting to talk less and to do more. Mm-hmm. So after that 6 months, that was kind of my mantra: talk less, do more, and put the work in. And so when I got back to thinking about podcasting again, I said, well, I wouldn't even want to be stuck with a Monday. I would like to just do a morning motivation. Let's get energized and get ready to start the day, type of vibe. So coming back at it, definitely have a vision to jump back on the podcasting bandwagon, but I'm not gonna rush it because people, great things, you gotta wait.
You gotta make sure it's right. But when the time is right, you got to jump in and do it.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
As a visionary, how do you go about replenishing yourself? Like after putting yourself out there, doing all these projects, doing spoken word, how do you find yourself able? Like, what is your process to go replenish your thoughts and your energy to be able to give to the people?
Well, when it don't feel like work. So I would have to say that the amount of love that I poured into my Tuesday night platform allowed me to surround myself with some people that really understood me. And so I found that I was being poured into when it came to these events. Every event I'm getting more and more, you got to keep this going,
Right,
so it wasn't that I had plans to host an open mic every week for 6 years.
It just kind of happened.
Because when I looked up, I'm taking things a day at a time, but I needed to show up on Tuesday because it was more than just giving these artists a platform, but it was about me feeling like I was getting the love that I wasn't getting when I wasn't at a Tuesday night event. And this city can kind of suck the light and the energy up out of you.
It can.
Especially when you are doing things that you've never done before, having to be around people that you'd rather not be around, or or the uncertainty, the mystery around it all, especially with new endeavors. And self-care, is a mantra.
Yeah.
But what does that really look like? And sometimes that's sleeping in. Sometimes that's not doing anything work related and just being with my children all day. Sometimes that's meal prep for the week because I can cook. Okay, I can cook, and I'm missing out on my own, cooking, on my own healing, for my self healing, my own medicine. So it is definitely taking a step back and always keeping me at the forefront, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to push my projects like I will.
Right.
Nobody's going to show up for me like I show up for me. And if I don't have it for me, then I definitely can't have it for anybody else.
Yep.
And I would, of course, be doing my children, a disservice if I just gave and gave and gave and gave, and then when I got home didn't have nothing left to give. So that's not even a part of how I move. I need reciprocity in all things, in all relationships. And if I ain't getting it, I'm cutting it off. Okay, because it's not doing anybody good to be in relationships with people that will pull and take from you and not pour back into you.
Yeah.
So that's my secret. It's like, as soon as I see them red flags, you think I gotta go. I'm gone.
Let's talk about Word Up for a minute.
Let's talk about it. Word Up.
Word Up. 6 years.
We're not officially at 6. We won't be at 6 until the top of January. I kind of have made that the celebratory, that first week of January, that first Tuesday is like my celebratory week.
Okay, so 5 years and really a hop, skip, and a jump.
Oh, right.
Not even a hop, skip, and a jump, but a hop and a skip. Word Up. You said before that you just kind of put the event together. Mm-hmm. What even inspired you to just say, you know what, I'm going to put together an open mic poetry event with all the things that were going on
right
in your life? What was it that those 5 long years ago that got you to just
Feels
say,
like a blink of an eye.
Yeah,
though.
I know. It always feels like a blink of an eye.
Oh my gosh, I was 24, 25 when I started the platform. I'll be celebrating 32 this month. It really doesn't feel like it's been that long. We actually, so the original name was Cabana on the Loop Presents Open Mic. So it wasn't even Word Up.
Wow.
So while I was doing the community organizing, I've been doing a lot of meeting at the Bread Co. in the Del Mar Loop. This was that far ago because there ain't no Bread Co.
Bread
no
Co. Yeah.
So I was doing meetings up there, but I was feeling like I was being watched. You ever get that feeling? It's being watched. Anyways, so I was like, no, that's not cool. That's not cool. Are there any black-owned spots in the Loop? And I was like, it's gotta be. And I'm walking the Strip, and I come upon this place, and I'm gonna let y'all know, man, I know how to pick some places, okay? Because this place is now Prime 55. Shout out to Orlando Watson. But that was my original location for the open mic. We were in the basement. It's got a real nice little jazz lounge feel in it. And the couple who owned it before, they were Muslim, so it was no liquor sold. It was a cereal bar, actually. Okay. They did like smoothies and parfaits, and they did the ice cream, the shakes, right? So we were having these, these nights where people would come. They would have like good food and nice drinks, and we just would come there and we jam and hang out. But being an entrepreneur, starting a new endeavor, you want to nurture something, you want to pour into it, you want to grow it, and when you're in the midst of doing that and somebody tries to come and interrupt that, it'll frustrate you, and you're like, okay, well, I need to move this to a space where it can grow, where it can live, and I don't need anybody trying to squish my dream before it can fully even realize itself. So then we slid over to the office, which is now the Blue Lounge popping. Oh, wow. I know, right? Shout outs to the couple that own that. They just celebrate their nuptials, so shout outs to y'all. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of history right
I know, right? So we were at the office then for what was only 2 weeks.
Really?
Yes, and it's sad to say, the business model for Word Up has always been to have it in a place where a black-owned establishment. That's the business plan. We've gotten offers to move all kind of places, but I won't go unless it's a black-owned owner. Unfortunately, that second week we were getting prepared to get things going, and the owner had went out of town and didn't quite make the arrangements to have somebody open the venue and the space for us for our event. I was like, we ain't playing these games. I don't promote a show all week just to cancel it. So my DJ at the time, he had connections with Legacy, and he hit up Legacy that was right down the road, and he was like, no, I have anything going on Tuesday night, she can come here. And boom, we spent 2 years at Legacy, living it up, having them, and they were just growing more and more and more. They were just growing and growing and growing. And so, the name Word Up was because the poetry. It was like, man, we're using these words, and we always want to keep things on the up and up. And it was like, oh, Word Up, Word Up. I mean, I knew it was the most original name to come up with, but it fit. You know what I'm saying? It fit. And there wasn't a Word Up in St. Louis, as far as I knew. So I was like, well, that's it. That's the money. We just going to go with Word Up and keep it simple, keep it moving. But slowly, I started to really more so look at the artists that we drew. And that's when I incorporated the live music, poetry, and comedy. So it's Word Up. So the full name is Word Up. Open mic, you can find it on any platform. But when you see the logo, you'll see Word Up, and you will see live music, poetry, and comedy, because I feel like those are the 3 elements that we draw the most, that you can experience any Tuesday night. You are always going to get those 3 without fail. There's never been a night where we've only had poets, or we've only had musicians, or we've only had comedians. That we've always had all 3.
Okay, so now I've done live art performances before, and it's a little bit different because normally you know normally it's DJ and you got your back to the people and you're doing your art, and it's cool. To stand in front of a microphone, in front of a crowd, and you're pulling upwards 300 people for any given show, to then kind of bare your soul to it. That's why I always say poets are a different kind of person. Shout out 16 Bars.
Boom. And he was at the show last night.
I know, I saw his picture. Crazy ass. But And I've always meant to ask him this, but for you, what is it when you're in front of the crowd? What's that like? Let people know what it's like to just be in front of that mic, looking out to those faces, and then you just gotta spit and let it go.
Yeah. So for the record, you know, for your fans listening in and my people tuned in to me live right now, I've hosted, even to date, just counting my own shows, over 300 times I've been on the microphone. So this is not even me mentioning all the times I've done other people's events, and I've hosted everything from literally barber beauty battles in a actual boxing ring to
speed dating events.
I mean, I've hosted birthday parties. Okay, we've been out here. Every single time I touch a mic, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. My mouth gets dry. Sometimes I lose my train of thought. I mean, it really just depends on where I'm at, who I'm with, and what kind of preparation I was able to do before. But I promise you, even with all of that, there's still that, you know, okay, it's almost up. Where I'm like, somebody. And I want to say that that's a good thing always. I think that the nervousness, I feel like if I didn't have it, then this would no longer speak to my passions. That if I was no longer nervous or anxious or with that little bit of stress, that little bit of care that says, hey, you're worried about how people are going to receive you, you're worried about how your delivery is going to go, you're worried about if you're going to make sure that the energy that you want to convey in this piece is really going to come across and hit people where they can feel it. And I think that is my love for what I do, you know, that nervousness, because I really want to do well. But again, like I said, if I didn't have that, I don't think that my heart would be in it anymore. So literally, like, you know, some deep breaths. I definitely try my best to stay hydrated before a show. I did a live broadcast after kind of going on a bit of a tangent, talking to my artists before the live stream, because I really wanted to impress upon them how important it was for them to get this thing right, because live experiences are not the same as, you know. So I just got done saying what I was going to say, and they hit the countdown on me for the live.
Before you could go grab something? Before
I could get a drop. And I'm literally looking at the people, and I was like, can I get a cup of water? I got 30 seconds. Can somebody bring me some water? Quickly, out of the way. And they didn't even make it in time. They did not even make it in time. And I would have looked so country picking up this styrofoam cup trying to sip this water before I said hello to the people watching live. I couldn't even do it. I said, I'm just going to be dry as all get out. You probably would have seen me licking my lips and taking my gangster. Oh my God. Man. And I had so much to say. I was literally reading this piece of paper that was like my introduction, and my introduction was not a short one. I literally had like at least 3 minutes of words to say. And that could be a long time when you're reading, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to keep my energy up, but my mouth was so damn dry. I thought my tongue was gonna fall out.
Like you said, a lot of experiences.
but that live is definitely a different animal, and knowing that, you know, thousands of people can see you, you know, and there are no retakes, do-overs, let's run that back. There's this, and what you have is what this is. And after this is done, if everything after you is amazing, you can't redo your part, you know what I'm saying? And that's going to get shared, because it's 4, 5, 6 other people part of this is going to have this live link, and they're going to share it, talk people that they know that they want to tune in, and now you're just out there. Yeah. So lesson learned. Yeah, lesson learned.
That's a hard lesson to learn. Good Lord.
I'll never forget it. Have you ever tried to dry your tongue out? Just leaving your tongue outside of your mouth, just holding it outside of your mouth, and then you feeling it's all dry and it's hard. Yeah. That's how my mouth felt. Without having no water.
And then you had to go through these long intros. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I was cute though, so
that was
my saving grace. You know, people still tuned in because they were like, "Look, she looked like her mouth dry, but she is so cute. Like, can somebody get her some water?" And she might cough or something and just blow the whole thing, blow everybody away.
See, that's what happened. At least you always can fall back to that. But that was cute though. But that was cute.
That's right. Hey, and these days and ages where people's interest and their attention spans are
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're not giving them something to see, regardless of whether you're saying something worthwhile, saying something profound, it does not matter.
Yeah, they got to see something. So, which is always amazing when they tune into this podcast. Like, what are you looking at? How can people reach you on social media? And how can they figure out the schedule, or when, and not so much schedule because it's every Tuesday, right?
That's right.
Word Ups is every Tuesday. But where can they go to see, like, what artists may be appearing on your open mic or?
That's easy. That's the easy. I mean, so you're so cute when you say DACIA Energy Polk. It's Innergy, INNERGY. And that's fully energy in me on all social media. I love to cross promote. I love to cross brand. So if you're ever looking at my stories on Facebook or Instagram, you're always gonna see something word up related. It's my baby,
Of course,
I gotta push it. And so Word Up Open Mic, all one word. You can find that on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm honestly updating every day of the week, so as soon as something's happening, you'll know. Matter of fact, the flyer just went up for our Sunday night this month, but here's the thing, and I'm giving you the insider tracking exclusive on that too.
Exclusive information.
I know, right? So we've been doing this Sunday night live stream, and I literally only gave myself a week to produce it. I'm insane. I know, you know what I'm saying. So with that being said, we ran 10 successful episodes where we've been averaging 1,000 views for that 1 hour where we've been broadcasting. It's been brilliant and beautiful, but I know it could be so much better. Matter of fact, I know that there are like some major opportunities coming from this production, and I really want to get it right. So we're going to announce this Sunday that we're going to take a bit of a break this month so we can restructure, reorganize, and really come at this the right way. And come November, it's on and popping.
Kind of got that surprising bump, kind of like with Swizz and Timberland guy. I don't think they expected Versus to become what it is, and I think it's sounding like the Sunday night open mic is in that same vein. But
so it's more of the potential of the thing, and I think that one thing that I really want to do, because people oftentimes have to get those hard knocks on their own, but I feel like I have a good balance between watching what someone else is doing and saying, oh no, I ain't gonna do that, what I'm saying, and also getting my own self experience. So I don't want this thing to get to this point in this level where it's no longer something I can control. It's no longer something that I have a handle on because I didn't do my due diligence before. I've never done broadcasting production. I've done some TV, but I was always on the camera and not behind it. And so this has been a different experience for me, but it has been a phenomenal, amazing amount of growth in the midst of it all. And while, the productions, while you can see the videos, you can watch some videos on Facebook. They are on Facebook. So you can see all of the episodes from this first season, which I'm calling it a season. You can see them on Facebook at Word Up Open Mic. Just go to the videos tab. And I promise y'all, they look absolutely amazing, but y'all wouldn't even know the stress I was under during those shows. So, this Sunday night event is my initiative and efforts to continue to bring some of the most amazing local live performing artists from the city to the forefront and give them access to people who are looking to enjoy local live entertainment from the comfort of their homes. I think that the level by which I'm producing this event, from the visuals to the sound quality to the production as a whole, is something that is unheard of. That it's not backed by a major production company. It's not backed by a music production company. It's not backed by anybody but Word Up and me. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what's up.
I'm literally pouring all kinds of light, love, and just prosperity into this thing. But I really want even these artists who are here that want to take advantage, I want them to be prepared for what this opportunity is going to bring. Because again, there's nobody doing what I'm doing on this level for local live entertainment. Bring in big names, put them on the live and bring them to St. Louis. Not the same thing as specifically targeting and isolating who is here and putting them on a platform where they can really take this thing and whatever it is that they're doing to the next level. So it's a big freaking deal. I really see myself taking my whole professional career to the next level with this project, and I want to do it right. So,
well, that's what's up, and that's amazing. And so, I know you're taking a hiatus, but I want you to let everybody know when the
Not
show.
overall, just on the Sundays. Now the Sundays popped up, so just like it popped up, it can pop out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tuesdays is always going down.
When's the second season of the Sunday show?
So
start?
be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. That exclusive drop. You'll be finding out that our last show for the season will be this weekend. But when we rev up in November, so we'll be right back. It's not, we're just gonna take a
Season
hot
2.
second. Yeah, we're gonna take a hot second and get ourselves together all the way. For this particular project. So be on the lookout for updates for when we will officially be rolling out our amazing dynamic lineup of artists that are going to be a part of this thing. And also, just you won't even be able to miss it, is how I feel. You won't even be able to not have access to the dynamic, amazing, even understanding what it is and when it's coming out, because we're really going to do our due diligence with this project and make sure that it gets out in front of the right people, and they know that it's happening. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I'm on. I want people to know that it's happening. I don't want to just pop up out of nowhere. I want it to be anticipating seeing this live and knowing who's on it, and knowing, you know what I'm saying, getting really ready. So yeah, we there. We're getting there. So keep connected to those platforms I mentioned. Word Up Open Mic, me, myself, Energy. That's gonna be the best way you'll find out. But we are still jamming each and every Tuesday night at Legacy Cafe.
That's a pillar.
Come on.
Of our community, of our artistic, not just the poet community, of our artistic community. A pillar, foundational at this point. I would hazard to say. So every Tuesday night,
8 to 11 p.m.
8 to 11 p.m.
At 5249 Delmar. 5249 Delmar. So
5249 Legacy Cafe.
That's like in the middle between the Delmar Loop and the Central West End.
Mm-hmm.
Easy to get to. Smack dab in the middle of the city.
Wonderful, wonderful show.
It's a vibe.
Thank you for showing up on the show and coming to the podcast.
It's my honor.
Had a blast. Lamar, how can people get a hold of you, sir?
LamarHarris.com. Also, be sure to check out Backroom Beats Tuesday through Friday.
Backroom Beats Tuesday through Friday. Is there a time?
Nope. Just tune in.
Just tune in. It's just going to be there.
Tuesday through Friday.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to get out of here. I am David Gordon. This is the Foresight Podcast. If you guys ever want to get in touch with me, I can be reached on Twitter and Instagram at DKG72. Have a Facebook fan page and a TikTok. That's David Gordon 72. And once again, guys, just remember, if you really like what you're hearing, if you go into the YouTube, you like what you're seeing on the YouTube channel, you like what the Foresight Studio is putting out, please go on over to Patreon and check out Patreon. We've got some nice tiers. We've got the new Foresight Gang tier, Gang, in which you can get the Foresight Podcast 1 week ahead of its drop date. I think that's a cool one. And of course, you get percentages off on merchandise and things like that at the Foresight Studio store. So with that being said, I would just like to thank Miss DACIA Energy Polk one more time for coming to the podcast. I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by and listening, and hopefully you'll be back for the next episode because it'll be another banger. And with that being said, I'm David Gordon. This Foresight Podcast. We will holler at y'all later. Peace.